In the 2019 NBA Finals, the Golden State Warriors looked to complete the first three-peat since the dynasty of the Chicago Bulls in 1998, and while the team was poised to accomplish such a difficult feat, the toll of multiple seasons of regular season games, including consecutive playoff runs that resulted in multiple finals appearances, caught up with the Warriors' key players, most notably Kevin Durant, who at the age of 30 was unable to play in the conference finals for the Warriors, and when the Warriors fell behind early in the finals against the Raptors, Kevin Durant was urged to play in order to cement that third straight title. In the first game of him coming back after missing the prior series, he tore his Achilles in the first 12 minutes of play. Klay Thompson later tore his ACL, all but ending the Warriors' chances of taking home their third title in 4 years. And when the offseason came around and Kevin Durant was entering free agency, there were questions on whether he would in fact stay with the Golden State Warriors and compete for another shot at the title, which at the time seemed odd because why would one of the greatest players in the league opt to leave the most ideal situation with the best team in the NBA? Well, there was, of course, talk of Kevin Durant being angered by the fact that he was cleared by doctors to play in the finals when in fact he was not yet ready, which caused him to sustain a much more serious injury. And of course, there was speculation at the time that KD wanted to embark on a new journey where he could prove to everyone that he could win a title on his own after receiving so much criticism for his decision to join a team that was 73-9 the year prior and a team that he himself blew a 3-1 lead to in the conference finals. Remember the nickname Cupcake? Yeah, KD wanted to show that he was no cupcake and again win a title on his own. Well, sure enough, when free agency hit, Kevin Durant made his decision to join the Brooklyn Nets, a team at the time had just ended their season finishing 6th in the Eastern Conference and lost in the first round in 5 games to the Philadelphia 76ers. Suffice it to say, joining the Nets, this Nets team, was not like joining the 73-9 Warriors. If Kevin Durant could take this Nets team to a title, that would be huge for his legacy. But this Nets team quickly became an entirely different squad once Kevin Durant made his decision to join the team, partially because of the sign and trade that was executed by the Warriors and the Nets that sent D'Angelo Russell and some filler players out of the Nets. But the biggest difference was that Kyrie Irving, in a shocking move, decided to not re-sign with the Boston Celtics despite multiple times claiming that he had planned to, chose to team up with Kevin Durant by also signing a max contract with the Brooklyn Nets, which it was now clear these two had been working behind the scenes to team up together. Of course, the Nets knew that by signing Kevin Durant, they would effectively not have their superstar player for the entire 2019-20 season as he rehabbed from his Achilles injury. But after Kevin Durant watched from the sidelines for the whole season and effectively got their coach Kenny Atkinson fired and later handpicked the coach that he wanted in Steve Nash, the Nets were ripe to be title favorites with a fully healthy Kevin Durant, a fully healthy Kyrie Irving, and excellent role players and young talent to round out the roster with guys like Jarrett Allen, Karis LeVert, and Joe Harris. Well, after the Nets got off to a rocky start, there were rumblings that they would likely pursue another star, a superstar player who was growing frustrated and unhappy with his own organization, that player being James Harden. Sure enough, weeks into the season, the Nets pulled the trigger on one of the biggest blockbuster trades that the league had seen, risking a good portion of their future by trading multiple first-round picks and young players like Jarrett Allen and Karis LeVert as part of a 4-team trade to acquire James Harden. And at that time, this was a James Harden who was out of shape and perceived to be unmotivated to play basketball. But be that as it may, the Brooklyn Nets had assembled a dominant big three with arguably the best scorers in the NBA, and were now by far and away the clear favorites to win the NBA title. Now fast forward to where we are today, and the Nets have yet to even make a conference finals since signing the Big Three, just winning one playoff series in that tenure. James Harden eventually demanded a trade and was moved for Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond, Seth Curry, and some draft capital. They barely make the playoffs by way of the play-in and then get swept in the first round to the Boston Celtics, to then having a drama-filled offseason, which we'll talk about, to now firing their head coach Steve Nash and hiring ousted coach, some might even say disgraced coach, Ime Udoka, after he was suspended by the Boston Celtics for an entire season. You can't make this stuff up. The NBA loves some good drama. Now, it was thought by many that based on everything that had transpired over the offseason that the Brooklyn Nets were likely going to implode and may even just blow up the whole entire team in a fire sale trade. And just when you think things could not get any worse, they do. Over the offseason, Kyrie toyed with the idea of maybe not executing his player option and testing free agency, as he was unhappy by the fact that the Nets were unwilling to give him a max contract extension because for some reason he felt he had earned respect and loyalty from the organization after playing in just 45% of games available since signing with the team, most of those games also being out not even due to injury, which team members have stated clearly impacted the culture in the locker room with his unwillingness to get vaccinated. And then because Kyrie threatened to opt out of his player option or demand a trade so he could maintain his high salary after quickly realizing not a lot of teams wanted him, and that if he wanted out of the Nets organization, he would have to negotiate a buyout, which would mean leaving a lot of guaranteed money on the table. Kyrie quickly changed his tune and opted into his contract, with this to add, normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in. See you in the fall. Yes, because Kyrie opting into his $37 million salary instead of taking a buyout is very brave and daring to be different. To make the situation even more comical, after Kyrie opted into his agreement just days later, Kevin Durant requests for a trade. NBA fans go nuts putting together all these trade proposals, and then when it's clear KD's trade value isn't as high as the Nets would like it to be, Kevin Durant then issues an ultimatum that it's either him or the coach and GM. To then a few weeks later, the Nets issuing a statement that they have agreed to keep their relationship intact and run it back with this group rather than jumping the gun and trading Kevin Durant, or Kyrie for that matter, and that everything is going to be great and all that drama from the offseason has been put behind them. That is until the Nets started looking like a disaster to open the regular season, struggling to win games, blowing leads late in games, Ben Simmons looking like a shell of himself, and of course, that led to the Nets most recently firing Steve Nash, which I think we all knew was inevitable, and if the organization wasn't in disarray enough, they decided to hire Ime Udoka, a coach who an organization felt did something so awful enough that it warranted a 1-year suspension despite having led his team to the NBA Finals just the year prior. And I didn't even mention the side story of Kyrie Irving sharing a link to an anti-Semitic video on his platform because I don't even need to speak about how ignorant and stupid that was. And I'm sorry, but you're wrong if you think Kyrie didn't do anything wrong by sharing that. I don't care if all he did was share the link with no context, no words said, nothing. I don't care if he doesn't agree with all the claims from that film. I don't even care if he was just doing it to troll the media and get a rise out of everyone to see the reaction. The fact of the matter is, when you have a platform of millions of followers, including kids who look up to you, and you share something that promotes hate and inferiority of a group of people without any context, it doesn't matter what your intention was in sharing it. It doesn't matter if you only believe one or two things from the film and you disagree with the rest. People, especially impressionable young kids, will think anti-Semitism is okay. It's not okay, it's never okay, and if you think that it is, then you're just being ignorant and failing to see why this is a problem. Oh, he just shared the link, he didn't even say anything about it. Oh, he even said himself he didn't agree with all of its claims. That's not the point. It doesn't matter. People will think that this type of thing is okay, and it's incredibly hurtful to those who are impacted by this. And this is coming from someone who isn't Jewish. I just have zero tolerance for any type of bigotry, racism, or prejudice. But tangent aside, back to Ime Udoka, because to clarify, at least at the time of this recording, it has not been confirmed that he's been hired, although both Shams Charania and Adrian Wojnarowski have said he's going to be hired, and those guys rarely tweet inaccurate information, so it's going to happen. Look, I understand why they would want Udoka. Like, personal life aside, he's a great coach. In his first year as head coach, he took a Celtics team that was kind of a mess. They finished 7th in the East the year before. They got knocked out of the first round. They start off the season really poorly, and then he completely flips the switch, and the Celtics finish with the best record in the second half of the season in the NBA, and they go to the NBA Finals. But the problem is, when you already have bad press, bad looks for your organization week after week, and then you decide to hire a guy who allegedly was having inappropriate relationship with a subordinate and abused his power over this individual, and an investigation showed that grotesque language via emails were exchanged from him. Again, all of this alleged, so I'm going to reserve judgment until all the facts have come out, but either way, it's a terrible look for the Nets when you have all of these other PR nightmares going on. The fact that the team as a whole is also terrible, dysfunctional, and a train wreck. The last thing you should do is hire a coach that has already received so much criticism in recent months. And even the bad press aside for hiring Udoka, do they really think he is going to save this team and rally the guys together? Do you think he's just going to magically change this team and make them title contenders. No, this is a team that is a disaster, and they would be best served blowing it up, getting rid of Kyrie, getting rid of Kevin Durant, getting rid of Ben Simmons, start fresh, start clean, because this team is going nowhere, and the longer they keep them together, the worse it is going to become. Let me know your thoughts, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.